Hello everyone, welcome back to Pommy and Oz, and first of all, without we get into this Essendon win, because we finally did it. It feels like so long since we reviewed a win. Big thank you, we just hit 1,000 subs. It's almost a year to the day we hit 1,000 subs that I started this little side project, and it's kind of become my main gig. It's become like a real huge thing, so thanks so much for liking the videos. Thanks so much for supporting me, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. You have no idea from the bottom of my heart how much it pleases me to see people enjoy this. So if you are new, please sub. If you're a returner, I love you, and thanks so much. It means so much. So let's get into it. So Carlton, we finally got the win. Very, very tough win in the end. It was in a proper derby game, wasn't it? It was a proper derby game against two rivals. 16-point win. And what can I say, really? I mean, let's digest it and let's just talk about it first from the heart, and then we'll look at some raw data. But what really impressed me about this one was there's a lot of times, being a Carlton fan, we've been backed into a corner like this. Strings of disappointment, and whether you sit on the fence that we lost to Brisbane, we lost to Port, or you subscribe to the philosophy that I do, that we should be a finals side, I don't really care for the sake of this video. We've been in this situation before where we talk about must-win games, line in the sand, and there was something about this one that I think really fit the bill, because I don't think we were particularly skillful. I don't think we were particularly brilliant. I think what got us over the line in this game for me was pure heart. Pure heart and tenacity. And I can't remember a game, being a Carlton fan, where I've looked at the numbers and I've looked at the tackle numbers and seen we've lost it and come away happy. But this one I was, because I felt like we really did it. We really attempted it. We had a season high tackle ratio, season high tackle success rate, and although we lost the tackle count by 10, I think that was more of our ability to dominate when it was our turn this week. I think what really impressed me was our 68% conversion rate, and I think what really did impress me was that it took us 2 inside 50s per scoring shot, which, again, is the lowest of the season. We really maximised these inside 50s, and I felt this was created by our pressure around the ground was a lot better. There's still some question marks for me, particularly in the first. It was, again, everything that's wrong with Carlton. We were too congested in the centre, and I think what was our saving grace was Dow coming out for SPS, and SPS was deployed in that set field role that we saw at the start of the year. We know Teague wants someone to oscillate in that kind of hole, if you like. Kind of like the CDM in soccer, the Patrick Vieira role, I like to call it. Who's not quite defender, not quite a midfielder. And I think if you look at his heat map, it's very spaced. It gave us that natural width, where Dow's a more central player. I think SPS, with his time on the half-back flank, has learned to appreciate that line. And I was very impressed with that moving forward from Carlton. I was impressed that we kind of shored up that handball to kick. We saw a little bit more handball. We saw the kick being used to be smarter as well. And I thought what really impressed me this week as well was our inside 50s coming into the centre from the arc. And I thought that caused the Bombers absolute chaos at times when we did that. And moving forward, for me, that is a really important kind of progression for this club. It's what this club really needs to look at, because I think when Carlton play well, we combine our tackles and our pressure with that switching up. And for me, up till this round, I think our ball movement has been really one-dimensional. It's been super one-dimensional, and it's been really easy to digest for me. And that is where I was really impressed. I think the fact that it felt like it was a little bit more mixed up this week, and that is going to get us wins. Now, was it an accomplished performance? Was it a performance that I'm going to say with the 8? No, I'm not. I'm not daft. But what I will say is this, we talk about standards. A standard was set this week because I thought towards the end of the third, I thought Essendon got on top. I thought they looked a more accomplished side, and I thought they upped their pressure like they did in the first, and I thought, we've been here before. Will the boys stand up? And when the skills started to let us down, what impressed me was players like Parks, Stocker, Walsh and Matty Owies. They stepped up and they said, you know what? We're going to bring the heat. And one thing we saw this week was a young side like Essendon, and there's a year between us on average. They didn't like it. And I think what people are saying is, that we beat their babies. We had the same amount of players playing today as they did, less games than 50. That's 10 apiece. We had the advantage, though, in that 100 to 149. And I like that mix. I thought the squad selection this week, when SPS came in, was absolutely perfect for Carlton. Absolutely perfect. I think the balance is good. And it was good to see that we played and we made it tough. We put the pressure on them. And that is what I've been saying all year. We don't handle pressure very well, but we don't give it very well either. So we allow teams to get settled before they bring the pressure. What we saw this week is players like Tipper Woody, when Parks went on him, was kind of non-existent in the third, wasn't he, Tipper? You didn't see him. And that was because Parks laid into him. These players don't like it comfortable. And there isn't many players in the AFL, particularly small forwards, that damage Carlton so much in recent weeks, who like it. They don't like it up them. They don't like it stiff. They don't like being hurt. And I was really impressed that we brought that intensity levels. And that is what we've got to do. I think when you look at the stats as well, we go into it a little bit more in micro detail. What impresses me is that one of the ways to beat Carlton is you stop us marking the football around the ground. Now, we were outmarked in this game. We had the pressure, but we found a way. We found the outlet ball. We didn't try the same thing. Aside from the first quarter, there felt like a real willingness to stop doing the same thing over and over again. And I think that was led mainly by our core of youth, particularly Sammy Walsh and David Cunningham. Two young bucks. I know Cunningham's been around a bit, but he's still young. And that excites me, because that is what Cunningham is there for. Cunningham, for me, is X Factor. I'm not going to get on his case when Cunningham's not laying 25 tackles a game. He had 0 tackles this game. He's not there to lay pressure. He's there to think outside the square and make a round peg squit in a square hole. And I was very impressed. I was impressed as well because what players like Walsh, Cunningham and SPS brought this week is they stopped Carlton calling Office Works football. And you know what I mean by that? Fucking stationary. And I didn't see that this week. Saw a real hunger and a real willingness. And you look at our top players on the ground for me. You had Sard there. I thought Cripps did very well under tough circumstances. Curnow, Cunningham, Walsh, Doc, Wheaters. These are our core. These are our players that we're looking at. And I'm looking at each week and saying, you blokes have got a job to do. Then I'm looking at Harry and I'm looking at Eddie, who had a very good game. Now, am I going to say I'm wrong about Eddie being maybe twilight of his career? No, because I think anyone would have kicked them goals. They weren't Eddie X-Factor goals. That mark, yeah, it was brave and it was spectacular, but I'd expect, you're playing for this football club, anyone would do that. But he did his business and he keeps his spot. And this is what I mean. The pressure needs to be there because Honey's breathing down his neck at the moment. And I thought that was very impressive. And then I look at the next cab off the rank and I look at my Parkses and my Stockers to bring me something. And boy, did they do it. I thought Cottrell as well. Wasn't the most exciting game, but 6 tackles from the fella. 16 touches. He brings it. That next cab off the rank, he's really there. And I thought, let's talk about some of these players a bit more. I thought Connors, 25 touches. Yeah, he had the 0 tackles, but the 2 goals in that game as well. What he does when he floats, and if you look where he floats, he just lives in that half-forward line. Spent a lot of time as well in the wing, in that wing half forward role. We kind of have hybrids there, and I'm all about that. Connor's really brought something, and when he's got the ball in space, for me, he's up there with the best in this competition. And I really like that core makeup of the side this week that Connor's did. I thought Wheater as always, a rock. Sam Walsh, though, let's talk about Sammy for a bit. Easily the best player in the competition, round 7. And that might be a big call. But 6 marks, 5 tackles, a goal, 33 touches, 2 goal assists, a multitude of score involvements, a couple of rebound 50s as well in there. Really important for me of what he does. And you look at what he's doing now. He's gone from the role of bringing the ball inside 50 to making things happen in the centre. And we wouldn't have won that game without... You could have taken anyone out of that team, and Carlton would have probably won that, bar Sam Walsh. Sam Walsh is a level above. This kid is the best player I have ever seen at that age. Best player I've ever seen. He's easily in the top 5 best players on form at the moment that I've ever had the joy to watch. He is another level. And this core makeup of the side, although that wasn't the vintage performance, and there's still some tactical questions around there, you can mask them tactical questions with that intensity level, with that fight. And that is what Carlton need to bring. We need to bring that mongrel. And Walsh, he was the leader of that. You know, you see what Owens was doing with Redmond. Walsh got stuck into Redmond. Walsh got stuck into a few of their blokes as well. That's infectious. This is what the Carlton Football Club I want to represents. It's, you might beat us skill-wise, but you'll never beat us heart. You'll never beat us questions. We'll be there. You can ask them, but we'll always have the answers. And we bring it, and we fought in numbers, and I thought we attacked in numbers. I thought this week as well, what was interesting was the running with. There isn't a stat for that, but you watch that game again. I've had the privilege to watch it twice now. The run with ability of the players is exemplary. Players running with, players running beyond the ball carrier, actively looking for it. And it was really impressive because there's about 3 or 4 blokes there that I thought had their best game of the year, and I thought they had their best players, their best games in blue. I thought Owies really took his opportunity, and that's all we can ask of these young players. Took the goals well, 3 goals, looked very accomplished. Is he the finished article? No, he's raw. But this is what we need these young players to do. And I thought this game was won by the young core and also these young blokes coming in and really stepping in and giving a shift. Thought Parks was terrific. Matty Cottrell, he just brings what he brings. And I thought Owies again just brought some of that intensity. That goal-saving tackle, he's started that passage of play inside our 50. He's ran all the way back. Can't question more than that. And that is what I keep saying week in, week out when I do this show. Have a bit of heart. Have a bit of intensity. Yeah, the spread's not there in the inside at the moment. But I can cope with that because it will come if we set ourselves a standard that we're tough to beat. At times it was too easy though in the first. That's something that's got to be addressed because looking ahead, you've got the Doggies. And Doggies for me, yeah, they've had a bit of a blip, but they are the most accomplished attacking outfit in this comp. The most accomplished midfield. They are going to be tough. I'd like to see TDK come in. I'm starting to question Levi Casbolt. I want to give TDK 2 or 3 weeks and really get himself right. But I think now Levi is top of the list for me. Has to come out. And I think TDK, yeah, he was against some B graders, but you can only beat what's in front of you. I like his forward craft though. I like what he brings, and I think he will be a wonderful foil. And I'd like to see JSOS or Honey come in here. We know Honey is tall enough to play that JSOS role. He certainly brings the pressure. I probably prefer JSOS over him, and I think he comes from McGovern. And I think that forward line is pretty formidable. I think this is what we got to look at though, moving ahead. And if you watch that game back, I want you to see from the second quarter onwards, particularly when we started to go through the gears in the third and particularly the fourth, look at the willingness to spread it from the centre. We're looking to get it out there to come back in. It's not staying there. And that's where this game was won, because Essendon couldn't run with that. And few teams can when you move it that quickly. When we look to move it that quickly. And that is my one question mark about this side. When that's not easy, because at times it was very easy. Essendon started to go within the shells. they didn't want it. They didn't want what Carlton were bringing out. And they fought hard towards the death. The game was lost, though. We've seen that from our boys. When the game is lost, psychologically, it's a different game. But when the game was on the line, they shriveled up and they weren't saying much apart from booing sad because the mugs. It's going to be interesting moving forward. If that pressure is brought on us, can our boys bring that again against the doggies? And I want to see that because there's a really interesting subplot coming now. We've got the win that you expect us to do. Next week, you don't expect us to win it. And no one does. And quite rightly so. The doggies are a good outfit. Can we win? Hell fucking yeah, we can win. And how we win that, we'll cover it more in the preview. But now it's more of what you've saw this week and a hell of a lot more. Add another layer. You want to bring that intensity against Melbourne. You want to bring it hard. They're playing great football. And I think we match up well against them. But next week, against the doggies, you want to bring that intensity. You want to bring that heat. Great 2 strings of games to see where we are. And to not settle for an honourable loss. Shock one of these teams. Because Melbourne can't keep on winning. They've got Sydney this week. They should win that. Then they're there for the taking. Few teams can go 9-0. Few teams do it. So we've got to really earmark that. But the doggies, just bring that intensity. Bring it. Bring that passion. You heard the G lift for the first time in a long time in a Carlton game. The crowd were phenomenal because the boys gave it something to shout out. I've heard some people say, the fans aren't there and stuff. Got to give the fans something to cheer about. And it's all right people saying, oh, where are the naysayers now? Piss off. Grow up. This isn't a liking contest. This is a game of footy. And the boys got respect. And they gave us something to cheer about because there was a bit of pride there. And now I'm hearing people who were saying, where are the naysayers, say they didn't sing the song loud enough. Come on. Come on. Look, the only thing the fans need to do, and I'll just give you one thing. If you're wondering what you've got to do, be consistent in what you do. And what we've got to ask for as a bare minimum is what they did this weekend. They win a game and they show heart. And they show heart. It's going to be hard. And I thought they stood up well. I was very impressed with that ball movement, like I say. I was very impressed with, we lost a tackle count, but we somehow felt like we were more valid. Them tackles stuck. And I'm happy with that. Because for me, it's more alarming when we're going at like 40-50% tackle efficiency and they're not sticking. They looked like there was a real onus. And people were tackling in pairs. That's never counted in that start. A lot of them tackles were people desperate to do it. And that is where we're going to win. We're going to win games because we can win games on raw talent. We have done for the last 3 years. But now you're seeing that extra 1% being played out. And there was the extra 1%. All in all, is it the greatest performance you ever see in AFL football? No. Positives, we kicked 120. We moved the ball a lot smarter inside 50. We had a blip in the first quarter, but I'd rather see a blip in the first quarter, to be honest, because we can adjust it. And the biggest positive is they fought hard and they worked as a team. I think for the first time in 2021, 22 blokes went out and played as a team. And Carlton Football Club as a team is a different prospect to 6 blokes. Our best to our worst, there's still a gap, and there's still a gap on field. There's still a few, I think, didn't contribute. But this week, I would say 16 blokes contributed massively. Massively, and that's what we need. I'd love to hear your guys and girls' thoughts. I'm very happy. That's the review. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back with a preview. Pom out.